Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from beautiful, sunny now, as of today, Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And coming up today, we're going to be talking about the Mormon Articles of Faith.
We're going to be talking about it's a What Mormons Believe episode, and this time it's really what they believe.
Yeah.
It is their express
It's the list.
of things that they believe.
Yeah. It's the list. It's the one.
It's the top 13. They really should have stopped at 10, don't you think?
It always was strange that it's 13 Articles of Faith.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Especially since 13 is such an unlucky number.
I know. What was Joseph Smith thinking?
What was it? Well, we'll get into that. We'll solve that question later on in the show. But first,
All right.
we'll tell some stories. Why don't you tell a story?
All right. Well, North Carolina this week
That's a state
Uh-huh.
in this union of ours.
has passed a bill in their state legislature that is blocking LGBT protections that have been passed on the city and local level. Right. So, cities will do this. They'll say, hey, we want to, allow for some LGBT protections in housing or workplace
Right.
or whatever.
Mostly what happens is cities say, hey, we're good. We're like nice people living in a state full of assholes. Let's at least on our level make sure that gay people can get a house.
Yeah.
Cannot be fired just for being gay.
Absolutely.
All of those things.
And so their legislature wanted nothing to do with that.
Fie on it.
And
they
so
said.
they've overturned those protections.
Oh, great.
And in particular, the wording is very interesting because there's sort of a general sort of prevention of non-discrimination ordinances, that's happening. It's just this general thing, right?
Just a wash. You cannot pass an ordinance that prevents discrimination.
And then they say that, that you cannot pass anything that would allow, quote, a man to use a woman's bathroom, shower, or locker room.
Oh, good. Thank God. We're protected from the trans people.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's definitely who they're targeting.
Obviously.
But
also,
there was also just this rash of men walking into women's bathrooms.
Oh, yeah. Apparently that happens all the time.
So, I mean, just a huge misunderstanding of what it means to be trans.
Well, what's amazing about that is that it kind of leaves them open. Like the wording is such a misunderstanding of what a trans person is that a man who or a person who was born, who was assigned the gender of male at birth, but is actually, in point of fact, female.
Right.
As in a trans person, a trans woman, because what they're worried about is trans women going into women's bathrooms. Mm-hmm. But a trans woman, by many people's definition, nothing to do with a man.
Yeah, but there's wording in here.
Oh, that defines what a man is?
It's the sex listed on their birth certificate.
Oh, I see.
Right. So
they got
that's
around
what's
it.
important here,
Yeah,
folks.
the only thing that's important is, did you have a penis when you came out of your mom? Mm-hmm. Or did you have a vagina? What about people who had both?
Nope.
Any word on that?
Well, it depends. No. What matters is what was written on the birth certificate.
Right.
So if the doctor decided to assign you to one,
Right.
then...
Or if your parents...
In
consultation with your doctor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then, ta-da! That's what you are.
Yeah, congratulations.
Period.
That's the end of the
Done.
story. And thank God, because now everyone's protected. Thank God. Because all of those prevert trans people going into bathrooms with their ulterior motives of pooping.
Yeah. Who was it that was talking about? There was some comic was talking about how it's it's a very long. They're playing the long game here, right? These trans folks who have decided to live as women, undergo operations, hormone therapy,
encounter horrible treatment by everyone that they meet,
just so they can go into a women's restroom.
Oh, those sly bastards! They've figured out they've decoded the thing.
And like what?
There you go.
Anyway.
I'm just going to tack on to that because I have my own stories, but when you said that you were going to do that story, there's another thing. Georgia is basically doing something very, very similar right now, and they're in some trouble. Now, I think did the North Carolina thing, was it ratified? Did the governor? I think he already signed it into law. It was like, and they rushed that thing through, didn't they?
Yeah, it was signed by Governor Pat McCrory that evening.
Right.
Because they called. So what happened is, I guess,
it was like within
Charlotte last month passed some nice anti-discrimination, laws for their own city. Right. And the legislature, and in particular the governor, probably just sat there fuming for a couple weeks, and was like, "Fuck it, we're going to take care of this now."
Yeah.
And he called a special session,
and they just plowed this thing through in a day.
Yeah, it was all done super hastily.
I was reading about it. Like legislators had like 20 minutes to read the bill.
Dear God, before
they voted on it, and I don't think there was
shocking.
I don't think there was any debate.
Shocking.
Or there was 5 minutes of debate. Anyway, in Georgia, what has happened is that they passed the legislature passed a law that was basically they called it a religious liberty law. And
okay, of course.
Yeah, of course.
There's none of that in this land of ours.
Well, yeah, especially when it's there to protect the Christians of Georgia. This isn't about making sure that Satanists and Muslims can practice their religions freely. Let's be clear. But what it is there to do is to protect all of those poor clergymen who might be forced by Obama to do gay marriages, or all the.
Because that's what happens.
Yeah, it's basically, this is also about being allowed, if you have a sincerely held religious belief, to discriminate against homos. Because God, they're gross. So yes, this is about discrimination in that respect, and they passed it. And now, this governor, Governor Deal of Georgia, does not. Nathan Deal is his name. He has not been hasty about signing this bill, and a whole lot of shit's coming down on him because, corporations, major corporations that do lots of major business in Georgia, in and around Georgia, are saying, don't sign this bill, including Disney and Marvel, who film major films in Georgia.
Yeah.
They're saying, we're not going to shoot there anymore. You sign this, we're not going to shoot there. Yeah.
So what does it come down to? Is it where are we at?
Well, he's making a decision.
Oh,
he's got until, when does he have until? He has until May 3rd to decide whether to sign the legislation. But AMC Networks, which shoots Walking Dead, they're like, don't do this.
Wow.
I mean, they're facing repercussions not unlike was it Indiana? Indiana passed a law, and then like every business in the world said, "Oh, nope, fuck it, we're leaving." And they were like, "Wait, we were kidding.
That was a mistake.
That was not. We were just
we were just kidding.
Psych,
just a joke."
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
Because I've been gone. There are a couple of news stories that I wanted to get to, but didn't get. But so they're a few weeks old. Don't worry about it. It's cool. Anyway, this one is good news. Have you heard of our president, Mr. Barack Obama? You heard of that guy?
Every once in a while, I think.
That's good.
Makes the news.
Yes, indeed. He apparently is eliminating most federal funding for abstinence-only programs.
Yeah, I heard that.
In his new budget, it eliminates. So obviously, in the Bush era, faith-based initiatives were all the rage, and especially in the case of like sex ed that involved actually no sexual education whatsoever.
Right.
So now all of the
why would you?
Right, exactly. So Obama is now undoing that damage, and because it's like it's the tune of like $110 million federal dollars going to abstinence only faith-based sex ed.
Oh my God. Seriously?
And he's pulling it.
Wow. So that was very clever. Well played, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to turn us into a Sodom and Gomorrah. And I like both.
Well, at least it's getting the dangerous thing out. It's not getting sex-based sex ed
Right.
into the schools, but it is at least getting the abstinence only out.
Or
the truly damaging one is like, let's get this out.
Or if I know various parts of our country the way I like to think I do, what this means is there will still be abstinence-only education for these students. It will just now be underfunded abstinence-only education. So it'll be even worse. Somehow they've managed to make it all worse.
You get the... Let's see. It's usually one of the coaches who teaches health.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And now he doesn't even have like materials with which to teach. Now he's just pulling shit off of the internet and going, "All right, here's what you don't do. Don't do sex. Don't do oral sex. Don't touch. No canoodling.
Yeah.
You kids.
Yeah.
Now drop and give me 20."
That's how it goes.
All right.
And then driver's ed in the summer.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back to Georgia for a second.
Oh, I take that midnight train.
Yeah. We have parents in the state of Georgia who are upset by the teaching of yoga in the schools.
Oh.
Terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And they're they're of course concerned because it's a Far East religion. And they
yoga is a religion?
They're offended by the Far East religion of yoga. And all that breathing and mindfulness
and bending.
It's
mostly just breathing and bending.
Bending. Well, apparently the curriculum that was being taught did have a lot of focus on mindfulness.
Oh God,
they were
it's the worst for
really pushing at the beginning of classes. Like every period, they would like take a minute to breathe and
the last thing a parent should want
recenter themselves
is a child who's actually mindful and alert in school.
Yeah,
that would be the worst thing they could be.
So they're going to continue teaching yoga, but they are stripping it of anything that could be tied to Eastern religion. So, and amongst which is the Sanskrit greeting Namaste.
Well,
which means I bow to you.
It means hello and goodbye. That's all it fucking means. I love the Namaste thing because let me tell you something about yoga. And this is something I learned on my trip to India. Yoga only became a religion when it came to the United States of America. That's when it became a religion. That's when it became everybody worships at the... Because, trust me, why are you shushing me?
Don't tell the truth.
Okay. No.
Don't illuminate.
Right.
The situation with truth, please.
Let me tell you something about Namaste. Because I once sat in a coffee shop and heard a woman, a very annoying woman, give a lecture to the guys that she was with about what Namaste means.
Oh,
and it was, do you know what it means? It means the light in me acknowledges the light in you. And then I went to India. First of all, while she's saying that, I had to Google it. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that at all.
It does not mean that.
And then I went to India, and you know what? It takes a little bit of the special spiritual glow off of a word when the stewardess on your plane says it to you as you board and leave.
Did she place her hands to heart center and say namaste?
No.
No?
Namaste is the equivalent of bye-bye.
Man.
Bye-bye.
Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Namaste.
Hi.
Namaste.
Welcome aboard.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what yoga is there. Yoga there. I asked a guy who had one of our guides. He's a practicing Hindu.
Yeah.
He appreciates that religion deeply. And he also has a 20-minute a day yoga practice that he does.
Okay.
And I said, so is the yoga practice a spiritual practice for you? He looked at me like I was crazy, and he was like, no, it's exercise.
Bending and stretching.
The fuck are you talking
Balance.
about? And then I talked about yoga with one of my Muslim guides in India, and he does yoga. And I was like, doesn't it have Hindu roots? And he was like, no, they don't own yoga.
Wow.
It's exercise. What are you talking about?
I think that those Indian men have gone astray.
They have gone astray.
No, so
according to Georgia.
So namaste is banned.
Good.
Placing hands
because it annoys me anyway. So good. I'm glad that one's gone.
Placing hands to heart center is banned.
Okay, good.
Coloring pages with the symbol of the mandala banned. Right. Using or teaching about crystals having healing powers banned.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Get rid of that.
Well, I say good on all this, to be honest.
I'm happy with every single one of these things.
This is all good. But here's what parents have to say.
Okay.
No prayer in schools. Some don't even say the Pledge of Allegiance, yet they're pushing ideology on our students. Some of those things are religious practices that we don't want our children doing in our schools.
Right. I would love to hear what ideology these people think they're pushing on a kid by making them say namaste.
Right.
Tell me the ideology of that.
Yeah, so so that was Cobb County Mother Susan Jaramillo. And now Christopher Smith shared this sentiment on Facebook. Now we can't pray in our schools or practice Christianity, but they are allowing this Far East mystical religion with crystals and chants to be practiced under the guise of stress release meditation. This is very scary.
It's terrifying. Stupid bitches.
And then he says he directed people to Google mindfulness indoctrination.
Oh,
because
not mindfulness.
That's what this is.
Don't Google mindfulness.
No.
That might actually get you information
about what it is.
Go Google mindfulness indoctrination, and then you'll find some far right wing.
Oh, it's just
nut jobs.
Terrible
warnings about how mindfulness will kill your Jesus.
Yeah, and then final defense. This is Cheryl Crawford. She's a yoga instructor. She's taught in several Atlanta area schools, although not the school that kind of got everything going. But she says it's a way to get children aware of their breath patterns, their tendencies and habits. Oftentimes they're focused outwardly. They're not focused inwardly. It helps them if they're very worried. It's a physical act, but if you're using your mind and your breath. Oh, it's a physical act, but you're using your mind and your breath.
Right. Great.
And so, yeah, doesn't sound too scary to me.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
But yeah, get the pseudo-religious crap out.
Yeah, I'm all
and
for it.
And then it's good.
I'm
actually on the side of these Christian parents who are all up in arms. Now, they're all up in arms for silly reasons.
They're stupid.
But I actually, the end result, yes, I agree with.
Yeah.
Just don't kick it out entirely. Keep it in there for its good stuff.
I love that these parents are absolutely right about the whole, crystals are bullshit. Now turn that same critical eye to your stuff. Oh, no.
Nope.
Can't do that.
Yeah, because if they would, they would throw Christianity right back in the schools.
Right. Hey, you remember how a bunch of Mormons went into Oregon and took over a federal building for a minute, and then they got like hauled off to jail and stuff? You remember that?
Something about it.
I just wanted to point out that so you know, at least one of them, one Miss Shawna Cox. That's right. There was at least one girl.
She was very popular.
She's named in the United States District Court complaint, United States of America versus Ammon Bundy, John Reitzinger, Joseph O'Shaughnessy, blah 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 blah.
Okay.
So she is. This is her. She is under criminal. She's going to go to jail. Is the idea? She is countersued.
No.
Yes.
Who?
The United States of America.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh, this is going to go well for her. So what is she? What's the suit?
She her countersuit. She alleges damages from the works of the devil. In excess of. Do you want to guess what damages she's asking for?
$1 billion.
$666,666,666. She claims that she's listed a wide array of people she plans to subpoena, including ranchers in the western United States, judges, prosecutors, Oregon's current and former governor,
Yeah.
local and state police officers, FBI agents, and, quote, various law professors.
Why the law professors?
They know.
Because they opined.
Yes, they know what's going on. Yeah. She says she says that that she
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I think she might be crazy.
What? No. We're talking about the Oregon occupiers.
No. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. They're the sanest that our country has to offer.
This is no. Well, I thought they were.
Right.
They made so much sense.
Until now.
This broke it for me, Dan.
She says that a lot of the people that she will be subpoenaing have worked to subvert the constitutional government and impose socialism, communism, and imperialism types of government onto the people of the United States of America. Probably by not letting them graze their cattle for free on public land.
That's the main issue.
Well, it's a good thing that she's doing
And
this.
all of this is worth $666
billion. I feel
This is a Mormon woman?
I feel like we owe this to her.
Is this woman Mormon? Or is she just a crazy
They were all
Utah?
Mormon. They were all Mormon. It was like...
Where's she getting off doing the whole Mark of the Beast thing? Mormons don't get off on that, do they?
I don't know. I think she just found a number that tickled her fancy.
Sense.
I mean, honestly, we did the same thing with our phone number.
Yeah, but just to make sure Christians don't call.
Right,
They won't be able to bring themselves to punch in the numbers.
Right, yeah.
There
you go.
All right. All right. Well, here's another kind of,
A little more kooky.
A little more kooky. This is interesting.
Yeah.
Deseret News.
That's
our one of our local papers.
One of our local
dailies.
The one that's owned by our local church.
They put a poll into the field asking Utahns who they're going to vote for.
Oh.
For the president.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Which we just decided on our primary business.
Yeah. Comes in the following order.
Okay.
Bernie Sanders. Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump.
Huh?
Okay, that's if those are the three, right? So they did the hypothetical
Right.
Clinton versus Trump. And she beats him by a little bit. Not outside the margin of error, which was like a 4% margin of error. But still. Bernie Sanders?
Beats Trump by how much?
Beats Trump 48% to 37%.
Damn.
Now, of course, if you ask the question about Ted Cruz,
it's a different story.
It's a totally different story.
Yes.
Or about even John Kasich.
Especially John Kasich.
Yeah,
Utahns love John Kasich.
Yeah. Well, they seem to be liking Cruz plenty these days.
Well, I know a lot of I saw a lot of conservative Utah voters voting for Cruz to make sure that Trump
they're playing
the way it shakes down in Utah right now, because they changed everything, is that if you got more than 50% of the vote in Utah, if one candidate gets more than 50%, then they get all the delegates. Otherwise, it's divided up proportionally. Yeah. And they were just trying to make sure that Trump didn't get any delegates.
Right. But
they did it behind Cruz instead of Kasich. You'd think that they anyway.
Nonetheless. So Donald Trump, if he makes his way, Utah has a very good chance. I mean, this is all based on if the election were held today, right? Like, the Republicans in this state are still pissed about Trump and angry about Trump, and Trump hasn't swung to the middle if he's going to, right? Like, what right now?
I don't think any of us know where he stands on anything.
Where is he going to go?
What middle? He could be a liberal, and none of us would know that.
Well,
he could be the most liberal out there because he hasn't made any policy positions. We don't know anything about this guy.
I would say that whole wall thing, he's been really clear about the wall.
He's been clear about the wall. That's true.
And immigration.
And he really doesn't like anybody from the Middle East.
Right.
He's very clear about that. So except maybe Jews, maybe Israel.
He outdoes even the most rabid Republican on issues of immigration.
On racism and that sort of thing. Yeah. He's really good at racism.
He's the best at racism.
Look, I'm the best at racism. I'm really good at racism. There's nobody that's going to be better than me at racism. I'm going to be the best.
Yeah.
I got the classiest racism. I got the best racism.
Yes, indeed. So he, this would be the first time that Utah has gone with a Democrat for president.
Yeah.
In over 50 years.
Oh. That would be crazy.
Yeah. Do you know the last time Utah voted for a Democrat? Do you know who it was for?
No.
Lyndon Johnson. Isn't that fascinating?
That's weird.
Isn't that bizarro?
But you know what? This was a different environment in the state.
And it was Goldwater who he was running against at the time.
Nobody liked that guy.
And Utah was just like, no, let's just go with Lyndon Johnson.
Ladies and gentlemen, listening out there in podcast land, I can't express to you enough how extreme things have to be for Utah to vote for A, a liberal,
right,
B, a socialist, a democratic socialist, or C, the Antichrist herself, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
The issue here is a lot of people stay home. There's a lot of
course,
and that was built into the poll. They were asking that. Would you vote or
right
X, Y, or Z?
However it shakes out.
Would you stay home?
However it shakes out. For one of those two people, to get Utah's electoral votes, like, holy shit.
Well, I've got a good friend whose Republican mother, Mormon Republican mother, has jumped ship already and signed up to be a Democrat.
Holy shit!
So she could vote for Bernie.
Damn.
She's a Mormon mother for Bernie.
Right, because there's nothing more distasteful than Hillary.
Right.
Like, Hillary's the most distasteful thing on the earth to these people.
Yeah.
Except, apparently, for one Donald Trump.
Yeah.
that's amazing to me.
Well, I mean, just think about it, though. Mormons, just on sort of temperament, would reject Donald Trump.
Yes.
Right? Just on that level.
Right. Mormons hate conspicuous consumption.
Oh, yeah.
They're fine with people being billionaires as long as they are toned down about the whole thing.
Sure, yeah.
They love their Mitt Romney.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the other thing. Mitt came out so hard against Trump, and then Trump came out so hard against Mitt. And here's the thing. You can tell Mormons, a lot of things, but if you attack one of their sacred cows, and Mitt is definitely a Mormon cow, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Something else.
There you go. Well, I'm going to take us to La Bella Italia.
Ah, Italia!
Back to Rome, where
Roma,
where they practice a religion. I don't know if you've heard of it, called Catholicism.
Ah,
The Cathals. I don't know if you know the Cathals.
They're good people.
Sure.
Cattolici.
You see. So these guys have long, had, they have these big cathedrals and whatnot. And they have...
Cattedrali.
See.
How many times do you want me to derail you with Italian?
No, now I want you to just translate everything that I say.
Oh, dear God, my Italian's too rusty.
So anyway, there's long been this sort of interesting thing where it's like we welcome, if you and I travel to Italy and we want to go into one of their cathedrals, we're welcome.
Yes, indeed.
We're absolutely welcome.
Yeah.
And a Muslim would be welcome to go into one of their cathedrals.
Yes.
Their cathedrals are for all. They are welcoming to all.
That is true. Yeah. You can go in, look around.
Right.
They don't even care, for the most part, like how much you're even behaving like a tourist, as long as you're not disrespectful or dressed inappropriately.
You probably can't yodel.
Right.
While you're in there.
But you can talk amongst yourselves about non-religious-y things.
You can take pictures.
St. Peter's it's not reverent in there.
No.
There's people yammering all about.
Right.
Taking, shit tons of pictures.
Right.
With flashes on even.
Yeah. Which is great for these priceless paintings and whatever. Although, having listened to the last 2 episodes of this show, of which I was not a part, apparently they're not priceless works of art. Apparently they're just propaganda.
They're propaganda. Very expensive, well-produced propaganda.
I so disagree with so many points that you two made on the last two things. I think you were way off base on a lot of stuff.
Oh, shoot.
I almost wrote into my own podcast to say. Anywho, all of that notwithstanding, there is one bit of decorum that is a new bit of decorum that is now requested of people who come into the thing.
Oh,
a bishop, one Mr. Where is he? Fausto Tardelli has now issued a statement saying, asking or telling priests not to allow Muslims to pray in their Catholic cathedrals.
Is this something that's been going on?
Apparently, I don't know. I mean, I think that what's been happening is that priests have been very generous and just said, I know I think what often happens actually is I see that you are in a hostile environment.
Right.
And that you want to practice your religion in peace.
Right.
Come into my building.
Right.
Do your thing. Don't make a big issue out of it, but come into my building and have your worship or whatever. Like, this is a good idea. It is a good idea for them.
It is. Do Muslims typically respond to walking into an idolatrous setting?
I don't know.
Because I mean, it is. I mean, Muslims are really strict against any representation of like religious figures or even human beings.
Right.
Or that's why all the geometric shapes are everywhere in their mosques, right?
Yeah.
And the calligraphy, the Arabic calligraphy, which is its own sort of very, very well developed artistic expression.
Right, because they don't have the imagery of their saints. That would be anathema to them.
Right.
So
to
that's
walk
an interesting
into a
point.
cathedral where there are representations of Christ, who
Everywhere
is-
you look.
yeah, which is a figure, and Mary, both figures that are in the Quran,
Prophets of the Islamic faith.
yeah, and there they are.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Up on the wall.
Why the fuck would these people want to go in there? That's a fantastic point.
Right.
That's really interesting.
Why would it even happen? Now, maybe in the spirit of being ecumenical.
Yeah, I think it's about like refugees mostly.
They just need a place.
They just need a place, and
Well, maybe they have like a room somewhere that's for Sunday school that
right. That may be it.
you can put a Kleenex over the crucifix.
Right.
and-
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Because of this Fausto guy.
Yeah. He's
Well,
not.
fuck you, Fausto.
Yeah, Fausto.
Your father, Fausto, what was it?
Tardelli.
Tardelli. Oh.
Yeah. So there you go. I do think that's interesting. Do you remember, when I did that interview with the Bishop of London
Yes.
low those years ago? He was interesting. He was very much a sort of reach out to the Islamic people in his parish sort of thing. Mm-hmm. He said he opened one of their mosques with stuff.
So that's lovely.
Yeah,
That's nice.
I mean, the truth is that I think all these big religions sort of have a gentleman's agreement among them all of like, I'll respect your cuckoo bananas if you respect my cuckoo bananas, and then we'll band together, and it's not okay to be mean to cuckoo bananas.
Yeah.
Which is why we as atheists get in so much trouble, because we
Right.
don't respect the agreement.
Right.
The agreement is you're not allowed to make fun of religion. You have to respect people's religion, regardless of how stupid it is.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole good neighbors thing.
Yeah.
I wish more people could get on board with that. I've always wondered about that Pentecostal church over on North Temple, right next to that little mosque.
Across the street from the Taco Bell?
Across the street from the Taco Bell. Like, yeah.
Yeah. You should go there.
No, I don't want to.
I think you should go in.
It's two faiths that I have no interest in.
Islam and Pentecostal? I think you
Pentecostal even less than
Right.
Islam.
Yeah. I think you should go to both.
No.
I think you should join both of those religions.
And eat tacos?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
You're a pentataco. Oh. I think it's good. Anywho, is that it? Are we done with the stories?
That's it, Dan.
All right, kids, if you want to write in.
I can't believe that's it, but that's it.
Write on in, folks. You can write into us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It's a closed group, so you have to be let in.
Yeah.
And it might take a minute, so be patient.
Yes, indeed. What are we going to do? Are we going to listen to somebody?
This is Glenn Beck.
Some cuckoo crazy?
He's here in Utah, as far as I can tell.
Oh, in the audio, yes.
Yes.
Hopefully not still here. There would be no reason for him to still be here.
No, dear God.
All the candidates have left.
But Glenn Beck, at a political rally for Ted Cruz.
Okay.
And he's here in Utah, and he knows who's in the crowd.
Yeah.
So here's him going.
But I have a special message for the people of Utah. And a message that I haven't said to anybody else because I'm not of their faith and I don't have any right to speak to them in these tones. But I believe the Book of Mormon. I believe it to be true. I believe every word of it. I'm a convert since 2000. So I come to it with a different perspective. Many people here came to it through your family. And many people take it for granted. But let me tell you this. It's either true or it's not. And that book spells out in great detail what things look like before the Lord comes back. And He gave us that book so we can protect freedom here. He also gave us that book so we would know what to do at the time. Now, you either believe that or you don't. You either believe that to be true, it's not just a book. Then let the priesthood lead. Priesthood holders, stand up and take your staff. You are the guardian at the gate.
Priesthood holders, take your staff.
It's either right or it's wrong. You either believe or you don't.
It's either true or it's not.
It's either black or it's white.
Well, he's not wrong about the Book of Mormon. It's either true or it's not. I mean, he's wrong about which part of that question he falls on. Like, he's definitely wrong there.
Right.
But it is... I think he's on safe footing to say it's either true or it's not.
Oh, poor Glenn Beck.
Oh, he likes to
Ken
yell.
Black.
He likes to yell. You and I were talking about him earlier about the fact that, like, it seems like it would be a good PR move for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to take one of their most famous members and, like, call him to a leadership position within the church.
No, not that man.
That would never happen with Glenn Beck. He hollers.
Yeah.
He's a hollerer.
No,
Likes
not.
to yell.
Not
Oh my
the
God.
thing to do.
Let the priesthood lead. I would.
No,
The
that's just-
fuck is he talking about?
He's crazy.
I love that. Because what he did was he managed to, like, not even dog whistle, just out and out say, if you're Mormon, then you have to listen to me. And then he didn't come out and say it, but then he implies by where he is that the Mormons have to vote. That to be a good Mormon, you vote for Ted Cruz.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's what he's saying.
Oh yeah.
If you have a temple recommend, you vote for Ted Cruz.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Ted
absolutely.
Cruz.
Absolutely.
Choose Cruz.
Choose
as
Cruz.
the signs say.
Choose Cruz.
Choose.
There should be
not.
There should be some new signs that say Jews choose Cruz. It's for it's a niche thing.
Yeah.
Certain parts of Brooklyn or whatever.
Right.
Jews choose Cruz or lose. Okay, well, we had some folks write into us, even call into us. So
indeed.
we should answer them.
Yes.
This comes to us from Azlak, who writes in, "Hey dudes, a discussion regarding art that I find immensely interesting is the concept of supporting the art versus supporting the artist. An example would be Roman Polanski. Whatever you think of his personal morals and conduct in regards to sexual abuse, can you still enjoy his movies? I have not come to a definitive answer myself. I am therefore in a position where I gauge every case on its merits and circumstances." He gives some other examples. But the question is, does consuming the art validate the personal life and or support the conduct of the artist?
Interesting.
He says, my go-to example is the author John Ringo. He was the first time this concept hit me in the face in a manner which I could not avoid it. He writes science fiction. He is fiercely right-wing. And though some of his sci-fi does show this, especially if you know about his leanings, and some of his sci-fi does show this, especially if you know about his leanings and go looking for those instances. But in one of his books, he had an epilogue about how the UN and international war crimes system is bad. Normally, I would just skip it, but this was in an audiobook and therefore at first felt like part of an actual story. So I listened, part of the actual story. So I listened and got dumped on. I still hugely enjoy his books, but I despise him as a person. My main problem, so yes, it's that is the conduct of the artist versus the personal life. So his TLDR is: does buying Justin Bieber's music support an asshole's lifestyle?
I remember we had the conversation about this when Ender's Game came out. Or we were talking about Orson Scott Card, and
right,
because he had said some really homophobic things.
Yeah, he's a Mormon,
and he's a Mormon, and blah blah blah.
It's a tricky one.
It is a tricky one, especially because, like, if something, especially when it's a piece of work that you digested at a point in your life before you knew
right
what this person was all about, and that thing really meant something to you.
Yeah.
Right? I wouldn't seek out an Orson Scott Card novel now because
it's kind of tainted in your mind. It's
tainted, right? Like the personality behind it isn't someone that I want to be supporting, and I know that I'd be questioning everything that I was reading, right, and the intent, and I don't think I'd just be able to, like, fall into it
right
in the same way.
I mean, I think one part of this question is, you could ask, would I go to, because there are two questions. Would I check this book out of a library versus would I buy this book? Because one actually, like, economically supports the artist, the person.
Right, okay.
So, and I'm actually going to bring another email into this discussion, and maybe we should even bring that voicemail into this discussion. Yeah, I mean, that's such a because this is because there seems to have been multiple people converging around a topic that I think is sort of worthy of discussion. And that is, what can we support and what can't we? I mean, it's like, can we go back and watch and laugh at an old Bill Cosby comedy show?
Right, Bill Cosby himself, one of the... I mean, it was universally acclaimed as one of the greatest comedy specials, perhaps, of all time.
I watched it like 1,000,000 times when I was a kid. Like, I have that thing memorized. Yeah. It was delightful. Yeah. The show, The Cosby Show, so much fun. Because of him. He was a delight on those shows.
But little did we know.
Right. And now...
he was some sort of sexual predator monster.
Right.
So
now, like, what does it all mean?
Allegedly.
What?
We're protected now.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting when people get tainted like that. I don't know that I would seek out anything Bill Cosby. I would definitely leave out the lesser Cosbys. For sure. Cosbys. He did some movies that were no good.
You don't want to watch Leonard Part 6?
That's the one. Yeah, like, leave out those, and, but who knows? I'm going to read this other email because I feel like it's related. Hi, guys. I was rather ignorant of the LDS Church until I started listening to your podcasts. Now I can't imagine I would ever, for example, vote for a presidential candidate who is a member. I wouldn't want to do anything... We did the Lord's work there.
Right, exactly, yeah. I wouldn't want to do anything that may benefit the church directly or indirectly. Recently, I was considering a significant purchase, and during a text chat with a company representative, I learned they were located in Utah. I immediately Googled the city, and it looked like it had a significant church presence and population. I asked the sales guy if the company was in any way affiliated with the church, and he stated they were not. I didn't proceed with the purchase, mainly because I didn't believe him. I just thought... I just didn't want to take a chance that my purchase could benefit the regressive church.
Do we have any idea what the product was?
No. He says, did I overreact? I know that not every business in Utah is owned by Mormons. Probably majority isn't. But what would be a good way for someone to check if a business is tied to the church in some way?
Oh.
How could we ensure we are not indirectly supporting the church financially?
They own stock in everything, dude. So, like,
yeah.
I mean,
are you going to stop drinking Pepsi?
Right.
Here's the thing. I have been struggling with this recently or for a while in my own mind, because there's the things like, there's the question of, can you eat at Chick-fil-A? Because the owners of Chick-fil-A hate the gays. They're evangelical Christians and they just hate the gays. So can you eat at Chick-fil-A?
But that sandwich is so good.
This is my point. How can you not eat at Chick-fil-A? No.
You're going to deprive yourself of a little piece of chicken with a pickle on it,
right,
between two pieces of bread.
It's toasted bread.
Toasted bread. My God, even worse, right? You're going to deprive yourself of that.
Here's what I've been thinking about. There is a difference between supporting a company, and supporting the owner of that company. There is an actual difference there. And I don't think that I buy that supporting a company. Now, here's the thing. If the corporate practices of that company I disagree with, for instance, Hobby Lobby,
right,
where the express corporate practices are discriminatory and are stupid and are anti-woman and anti-gay or whatever.
Right.
That I think you gotta boycott.
Right.
You gotta not go. Well, however, I mean, because let me tell you something. The person at the top of every company in America, I promise you, is an asshole.
In some way.
I promise you that the owner of every privately owned company, the CEO of every company on the planet is a fucking asshole. And you would hate that person if you knew that person.
Oh, Dan, you were really...
There are Donald Trumps scattered from one side of the world to the other.
You might be putting too fine a point on this, Dan.
Well, but my point is this.
Because, you can't say that they're all...
No.
You can't.
Of course not.
You can't.
But my point isn't that they're all assholes. My point is that there are plenty of horrible assholes that we just don't know because they're quiet about it.
Right. Now that's a great point. But is that the risks that they're running by being vocal? Right. You own a large company and you decide that you're going to use the platform that company has afforded you, right?
To be
and that prominence to publicly be a dick, to publicly denounce certain, parts of our society.
So the argument that you're making is something along the line.
I think I'm asking more a question.
Sure.
Right. I don't know exactly where I fall.
Or the argument that statement might lead to.
Right. Okay. Sure.
Is we need to boycott these things to make sure that we as a society stop these assholes from making or we make it known to them in a way that they'll feel
right
that we don't approve of that language.
Now here's the deal. Here's what's funny about me is I hate boycotts.
Yeah.
I think they're stupid, right? But I won't eat at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
I won't because
it's
not because of an organized boycott or anything. They're just bad sandwiches.
I love their sandwiches.
That stupid pickle. The pickle is what kills me more than any.
You're off. You've gone off topic now. You've gone off topic.
There's something that is sort of stuck in me that I just can't.
There's an emotional.
And it has nothing to do with the sandwich.
Right.
I do think the pickle is stupid, but that's beside the point.
Right.
It's just. I just can't get past it. For the longest time, I wouldn't get gas at, what was it, Exxon?
Right.
Because they were being weird about the gays way back in the day.
Right.
And
Coors beer.
Coors wouldn't touch Coors beer.
Right.
Wouldn't touch Bud Light either, but that's a difference.
But here's where I'm getting at. Here's where one of the places that I've come down on this is that I support an individual society member, an individual citizen of this country's right to speak out in a way, to speak their mind in terms of political and social, things.
Right.
I feel very strongly about that.
Okay.
That people in this country should feel should be part of the national discussion. That a person should be.
Right.
I feel also very strongly that a company should not be.
Right. So what did Chick-fil-A guy do?
I don't know.
Remind us all.
He's just a Christian-y guy, and he just
said some homophobic shit.
Said some
right?
homophobic shit.
Did he change the policies of his company in some way?
No, they hire gay people. They're.
I mean, that's a pretty good point, Dan. But Hobby Lobby, dicks.
Hobby Lobby, as a company, behave in a way
poorly.
that I can't support.
Right. Okay.
And there are valid alternatives.
Okay.
For all of my crafting needs.
Absolutely.
When I need to get my rickrack, I can go to Michael's.
Places to go. Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah. No. That's an excellent point.
So Robinson, who wrote in and said, I don't want to buy from a company that's in Utah for fear of supporting the church.
Right.
Well, what you're doing is you're participating in commerce.
Right.
There's a huge difference between participating in commerce and, buying a product at a fair price from someone selling that product and donating
Okay.
I feel like there's a very big difference between those two things.
Right.
And I feel like even if it's owned, and chances are the company's not owned by the church. The church does not do that.
Utah, yeah.
The church, the only companies that the church owns are like a couple of huge ranches in Australia and a
giant shopping mall
downtown. Big shopping mall in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
But they don't own companies that sell stuff.
Not that I know of.
No. Unless it's Temple Garments.
Yeah, but even then was Deseret Book ever owned by the church?
I don't think so.
And if it was, I don't think they own it now.
Right. There's affiliations and stuff, but I feel like no.
I think they do own Deseret Book.
Yeah, maybe. And Deseret News.
Shirley Dew was the head of it, right?
Yeah, I think they're associated.
Or was that her name, Shirley Dew? Cheryl Dew? Something like that? The head of the Relief Society for a while.
This is a grapply point. But it's an important thing for us to discuss because where your dollars go can matter. Mm-hmm. Where your money goes can make a difference. Mm-hmm. But
if an organization is exceptionally reprehensible to you, I could see
as an organization,
and they happen
the LDS Church,
the LDS Church, right? And that they own outright some company,
sure.
Right? It's not that they just own 20% of stock in whatever soda company,
right?
Then I guess you could.
If they own
you could avoid it.
Sure.
Why not?
If they own
if it's exceptionally reprehensible to you.
Right.
I guess that's the thing is.
But the thing is that, there are Nazi groups out there who are invested on the stock market.
Sure. Right.
So, if you buy something from JCPenney, you might be supporting a neo-Nazi group in Idaho. They might have made some money off of that purchase.
Right.
Some tiny thing.
Well, they run that really good bakery downtown.
That's so good.
I have no idea. Sorry. I will eat the Nazi cookies.
Nazi cakes are the best cakes. If you go to Nazi Cakes, get their red velvet. Trust me, you'll be kicking yourself if you don't.
Unbelievable. You just have to get over that whole...
They call it the swastika cake. I know that feels bad.
Thing. The swastika cake.
It's swastika cake. It's delicious. Anyway.
Yeah. I wrestled with the whole boycott thing. Yeah. Actually, I don't wrestle with boycotts. I think they're silly, and proven to be pretty ineffective. I just choose as a private citizen to avoid places that I have problems with,
and it's hard.
And I kind of just keep it to myself. And
right.
If I was with a group of people who all wanted to go to Chick-fil-A, I would probably say, that's not my. I really don't like that. Can we go to Arby's?
What a splendid alternative. Yeah, I mean, sure. And we have emotions. We are humans. We have emotions, and there are going to be moments where, like, you just can't get over it.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm probably never going to enjoy even the old funny Bill Cosby comedy ever again.
Yeah.
I'm probably just not going to be able to do it because I have associations.
Yeah.
Does that mean that the jokes weren't funny when he made them? No.
He could make farting noises like no other.
That whole bit about the Lamaze class.
So funny.
Genius.
So funny.
Just genius.
Yeah.
Too bad. It's gone now.
Dad eats cake. Or dad is great. Feeds us chocolate cake.
Give us a chocolate cake.
Yeah.
The point is, I think that it may taint it for you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, if there's art that you enjoy, there's art that you enjoy. And
as long as the art itself isn't reprehensible.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, if you go back and we don't know how big a dick Titian was or Rubens. Those people might have been the biggest assholes on the earth. You just don't know. Like, we don't know where this stuff is going. So just, you know what? Do your commerce. Do you.
Huh.
But if you do know for a fact that, like, the artist who created, you know, the song that you really like is a shitbox, maybe you don't want to support them financially.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely don't go to a concert because that's where they benefit the most.
That's where they get the most money. Also, you'll be surrounded by people who support shitboxes. That's why I don't go to Dixie Chicks concerts. Just kidding.
Well, I liked the Insane Clown Posse for the longest time, and then I found out who they were.
Oh.
It's such good music.
Well, and the crowd is what you go for. You go for the...
Well, that was the mistake. I showed up to one of the concerts.
What? Those juggalos are the best.
I was like, why are there so many juggalos here?
It's like, what are you doing at my favorite band's concert?
You have ruined Insane Clown Posse for me.
Madam, put your shirt on. How dare you?
What's the soda they spray on the...
Fago? Is that something like that? I don't know what it is.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
Anyway, do you want to play the voicemail?
Let's
kind
play
of along
the
the same
voicemail.
lines, and we'll just say the same thing we just said.
Okay.
Hi, Frank. Hi, Dan. I was just listening to the 226 podcast, and I just wanted to comment on the takedown of Mother Teresa because I wanted to say, how on earth is she the problem? That's like blaming a bad movie going bad because of the star of the movie. And we all know that there's a lot more cogs in that spiel. You know, come on. Give it a break. Mother Teresa wasn't a bad person. She was a cog. And she was probably a lot more clueless than you even want to realize. I mean, she was from effing Croatia, a country most people don't even know. Oh, no, it wasn't even Croatia. Oh, shoot. Dang. It's the other one next to it. Look it up. Go to a map. Anyway, she was from BFE world that I can't even remember the name of the country. No, she's not the problem. The Catholic Church is the problem. And so don't ever do this argument again because I've heard it 3 times on your show. Please stop talking about Mother Teresa as if she's a bad woman. She was doing the best she could do in a really horrible organization. She was like high management in the Catholic Church. Start blaming the right people. Bye.
Okay, so you know what? I'm going to be honest. The connection that I was making between those emails and this voicemail in my head probably wasn't right. It wasn't working.
Okay, I was curious to see where you were going with it, but
I have a connection, but it's too tenuous to really do. So let's just talk about Mother Teresa and let's just talk about this whole thing.
Okay, so what we talked about on Mother Teresa, we brought up the fact that She, ran this, what would you call it? Hospital or hospice type thing.
She ran a series of hospitals. She ran...
But the one that she's famous for is the one in Calcutta.
Right.
That's what got her famous. Right. And that's what got the dollars pouring in.
Right.
And
to her order. She ran an order of nuns.
Yes.
That were their own little kind of organization.
Right. And the point here, which I don't know if we pressed hard enough on the point, is that she believes in this, or believed in this idea that suffering is what brought you closer to Christ.
Exactly.
Right. And so the suffering of these people was not something to prevent,
to alleviate,
exactly,
or to help.
Exactly. You like medicine that could cure them or at least take away the pain, not provided.
Correct. She would allow them. She gave
suffer.
them a space to convalesce.
Yes.
And feel shitty.
Yes.
And
until they died.
And she enjoyed that. She promoted that. The whole point was make sure they feel awful.
And she would watch people die who had been in her quote unquote care.
Right.
So that she could be there as close to the moment as they passed over in their suffering, the closest moment that they would ever be to Christ in her mind. Right. So that's the point that we were making.
Now, that said, the Catholic Church has a lot of organizations within it that do really good work.
Sure.
That are kind and that are helpful.
Right.
And so to say that the problem isn't with Mother Teresa herself, but with the church is just fallacious. It's just because the church itself didn't hand this idea down to her.
To do that. She picked it out of the doctrine somewhere.
Oh,
but
it's in there.
She's the one who was promoting what she was promoting, which was the suffering of people who were already at the lowest rung of society.
Right.
The poorest of the poor.
So to pick on Mother Teresa isn't about like some sort of backwoods little old lady who was just part of a machine.
Right.
No, quite the opposite. There's a real reason why we need to make sure that we pick on Mother Teresa.
Right.
Because we can't allow that kind of shit to happen.
Right.
And she, there was a propaganda machine that cropped up around her.
Yeah.
And sent shitloads of money in to make people suffer.
The media has always presented Mother Teresa as a saint.
Well, yeah,
and
not only,
and guess what? She's about to be sainted.
Yeah.
no Mother Teresa,
if you want to say someone is great, or if you is super kind, she's the synecdoche.
Yes,
go-to synecdoche for that.
No, it's true.
That's your vocabulary word of the day.
And therein lies the problem, and that's why it's important to keep talking about Mother Teresa, and to make sure that people don't buy the media message, the message that's being fed to you about Mother Teresa. Because I was actually thinking about this. I was like, if I said something bad about Mother Teresa around my mother, your
Mormon mom,
my Mormon mom, I think she would be offended. I think she would be really bothered that I would dare say something about such a good woman who was doing good, blah, 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 blah. And I would have to look at her and go, why in God's name are you defending a Catholic nun?
Yeah.
Right? Because you believe that the Catholic Church is the whore of Babylon.
Right. It's true.
Right. So, like, why have you bought this message of all people?
But in fairness, like, I'll defend a Catholic nun who actually did awesome stuff.
Sure.
But the point is that we've all been lied to. Right. Yes, exactly. She's a nun.
Nuns.
String her up.
But you get my point, right?
I do. Okay. And the larger point is you've been lied to, and we all need to know about this,
right?
Because an atrocity took place, and she's being heralded.
And so, dear caller, I would first ask you: do you like Christopher Hitchens? You may or may not. Either way, look up Hell's Angel. Type into Google Christopher Hitchens, Hell's Angel.
Yeah.
It's a half-hour documentary on Mother Teresa.
You'll learn a lot.
And it really lays it out there as to why this woman is not what she's been made out to be.
Right.
So,
all right, I'm going to move us on. One more email really quickly. Hello, Franklin and Dan. I've noticed that you often use religious expressions when you discuss the podcast, or discuss on the podcast.
Okay.
Like, oh my God, God bless her, Jesus, etc.
yeah.
I do this, and it bugs me.
Oh.
So can we do a nice little podcast workshop exercise to come up with good atheist expressions?
Oh.
Some suggestions come to me. Jeebus, oh my fuck. As you can see, I need more ammunition. Please come to my assistance. Love the podcast. Never stop, Frederick.
I like fragnamit.
Here's the thing. Like, Jeebus is just, you're just saying Jesus with a different word. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
What I've come to, and this is what, because I struggled with this too. I'm like, why am I using phrases that aren't mine?
Right.
And what I've come to is, no, they actually are. Mm-hmm. Phrases like, oh my God, or Jesus Christ, or used as an expletive, don't belong to the church. Those actually belong to society. The problem is that we use these as cultural markers. Just like any swear word, we need to have strong language. There needs to be in our language strong phrases.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, avoiding oh my God as an expression
Right.
means that we're cutting out a societally understood strong phrase.
Right.
If I say oh my heck, it means something very different societally, culturally, than oh my God.
Well, yeah, but I mean, why do you have to say, oh my God? Couldn't you just go, shit?
I could. But I'm just saying, like, I have no...
It's not following the same pattern, so it doesn't feel like you're trying to emulate something else. Oh, crap.
Yeah, it just means something different. There are nuances to these things.
Yeah, I know.
And I personally, I think that these are cultural phrases, not religious phrases.
Okay.
Because we as a culture haven't come... Maybe that's the point. Maybe the point is we as a culture haven't come up with...
moved on, and that's what he's asking us to
alternatives.
do.
Okay,
he's asking
let's
us to
come
have
up
a
with some
brainstorm
alternatives.
session for some strong phrases that sound strong, right?
Right.
That have real meaning, so it's not fragnamit, right?
Well, they don't have to have meaning. That's the thing. What we're talking about is expletives. We're talking about words. I mean, no word has meaning until we give it meaning. So all we need to do is come up with a society. But the problem is,
then you might as well just make like moaning sounds.
But but the problem is that we need societal buy-in in order for any of this to have that strength.
Which is why you use existing words.
Like fuck, shit.
Yeah, exactly. If what you're looking for is strength in your language, and let's face it, the ability to offend in your language as well.
We need that.
And because, you consider your audience, who's in the room.
Sure.
Okay, well, crap will suffice.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, if you're in the old folks' home where grandma lives, you're not going to say the strongest thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Because you can have just as much impact with a much lower word.
Yeah.
Well, poop, grandma. I just don't see how that works.
Well, he's just a mother effer.
He's just
a mother heifer.
He's just a bad man. So I think I don't know. What's a good oh my God equivalent?
I don't know. I've been arguing to go along with his thing, and I don't know that I even have any. Because here is the deal for me.
Can we find a figurehead that we can swear on that isn't Jesus or God? Can we find Ronald Reagan?
That would offend some people, some parts of this country.
Ronald fucking Reagan. Joseph McCarthy in a handbasket. What is happening here?
But once again, it's the point of societal buy-in.
Right.
Because if you sound like a doofus while doing it, then there it goes. Yeah. You just lost the whole thing.
Yeah, you lost the plot.
I don't know. I've never had and this goes to the point that you were making earlier, I've never had any problem with just saying the words.
Jesus Christ, just say the fucking words.
I think it's fun to say Jesus Christ.
It is kind of fun.
You know, and because I know that it's especially, you know, with the people that surround us,
right.
It's a little risky. Right?
Yeah.
You might you find yourself in one of the suburbs, you're in the supermarket, you know.
Yeah. That one,
Jesus.
That will really offend somebody.
You know. And all the while not looking like the type of person that they would want to be so easily dismissive of. Right?
See?
So
See?
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. If you really need to eliminate it, I'm going to propose that you swear on Ronald Reagan. But otherwise, just use the words.
Yeah, just the words suffice. That's why they're there.
They're so good.
You know, I mean, you could try to start your own thing. I love the ones that make you still think of the thing, like mother effer. Like I love saying that one at work. I walk in and I'll say that everything's a fustercluck.
A fustercluck, sure.
You know, like I love making people think of the F word, even when you're not saying it.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's what we believe, and I'm going to transition now. I'm gonna segue,
and let's keep it brief, Dan.
Yeah, we've been blathering.
Because this second segment went long.
We're gonna talk about the Articles of LDS Faith.
Yes.
Written by one Joseph Smith. That's another one you can swear on. Oh, no, he's religious again. Joseph F. Smith. Anyway, that's a different guy.
I don't know.
I kind of like that, actually. I might start doing that.
That one, I don't know.
Anyway, he outlined 13 different articles of faith, most of which some of which might surprise our listeners, I think. Most of which are really just sort of tame. Some of which are there just to differentiate Mormonism from mainstream Christianity. The first one is easy. We believe in God, the Eternal Father, and in His Son, Jesus Christ, and in the Holy Ghost. I think that one is to claim Christianity.
Yes.
So the first one is to claim
we're Christians, folks.
Are Christians.
They don't say anything about the Trinity and the fact that they don't believe in the Trinity there.
Right. They're separate entities.
Yeah.
And so they are separated in the wording.
Right.
But yeah.
But beyond that, you don't see it.
The second one is directly attacking sort of Catholicism, I think.
Yes.
Which is, we believe that men will be punished for their own sins and not for Adam's transgression.
Original sin. They don't believe in it.
We don't believe in original sin.
You don't, Dan?
I don't believe in original sin.
Okay, good.
Definitely. I'm not even clear on whether or not I believe in the concept of sin in general.
Oh, Daniel.
I know.
Okay.
We believe that
this is number 3.
Through the atonement of Christ, all mankind may be saved by obedience to the laws and ordinances of the gospel.
Yes.
Once again, we've differentiated ourselves because it's not saved through grace.
Right.
Saved through works.
So they're saying, hey, you Baptists, you Anabaptists over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not grace.
We believe that the first principles and ordinances of the gospel are, first, faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. That's nice. Second, repentance. Third, baptism by immersion for the remission of sins. And fourth, laying on of hands for the gift of the Holy Ghost.
Okay. Whatever.
Just to be clear, those hands go on your head.
Laying, yes.
It would be
but
nice.
Baptism by immersion, that's
right?
an important
one.
one.
Yeah, no sprinkling.
No sprinkles allowed.
You have to get all the way under. And as a matter of fact, if your clothing doesn't quite go down under, doesn't quite dip below the surface.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't count. We got to do it again.
God is a God of technicalities.
Our God can't see past little mistakes. So better do it right.
Okay. This one is also okay.
Do you want to take this one?
Yes.
It's very interesting.
Number 5, we believe that a man must be called of God by prophecy and by the laying on of hands by those who are in authority to preach the gospel and administer in the ordinances thereof.
Now, this one's interesting because one could ask the question, since this religion only started a couple hundred years ago, Well, wait.
Where does your authority come?
Who did the laying on of hands for Joseph?
Oh, they have an answer.
They do have an answer. Do you want to tell?
Well, they believe that John the Baptist came down and conferred that authority, right? Or the apostles, Peter, Paul, and Mary came down. And
it came down from heaven. And he knelt in a grove of trees.
Yeah.
And they conferred all of this onto him.
Yeah, it was Peter, Paul, and John, Paul, and Peter.
Peter, James, and John.
Peter, James, and John. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow. I wanted it to be Peter, Paul, and Mary so bad.
I think it is. I think that's right.
So Peter, James, and John, you're totally right.
Came down.
Because Peter had the keys of the priesthood.
Right, yeah. Number 6 is they believe. So here's a claim that they make right in their articles of faith that I think they don't actually believe. They claim to. Number 6.
Okay.
We believe in the same organization that existed in the primitive church, namely apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, evangelists, and so forth.
Yeah. I don't think they believe that?
No. I think if we researched the primitive church.
Oh, no. I think what they believe is that what it looks like today is what the primitive church looked like.
Regardless of what historians might tell
absolutely.
you.
That's totally how
That's true.
The Mormons parse it
I
out.
just love that they use words. Did you ever hear the word pastor anytime in the Mormon church?
No.
No.
Well, I mean, when did he write this? Because
evangelists, you don't hear that word.
No, but that's what was going on in upstate New York when this would have been written.
Right, exactly.
Number 7 is a fun one. Dan.
Okay.
We believe in the gift of tongues, prophecy, revelation, visions, healing, interpretation of tongues, and so forth. That sounds very not Mormon.
No.
But they have a Mormon interpretation.
What's amazing about that is that, like, you say that, and boy, you're suddenly thinking of the Pentecostals freeing up their tongue, baby.
Yeah. No, this is
not what Mormons do. If you go into a Mormon church on fast and testimony meeting and you go up to the mic and you start going, they are going to be out. They're going to freak the fuck out at you.
After their butts unclench.
Right.
No, they say that the gift of tongues is what the little 19-year-old missionaries have when they go to a foreign country and they learn a foreign language.
They learn a language. Now, there are actual stories in Mormon history of people standing up in a Mormon church and saying a bunch of nonsense, and then someone else saying, brother so-and-so was speaking in the language of Adam.
Oh, you're right. I've heard those.
And here's the interpretation of that.
Yes.
So early
on they were okay
early on there was like speaking in tongues. That was the thing.
But the problem with that is that doesn't really work for a very buttoned-down church where the beliefs are all very tightly controlled and centrally determined by the prophet.
Yeah.
Right? So if all of a sudden somebody can just stand up and speak in the language of Adam.
Right.
And there's something new that comes along that nobody's heard of, what do you do with it?
What do you do?
Uh-oh. What do you do?
Trouble.
We've never heard this before.
Yeah. If you spoke in tongues at a Mormon church, the horror that you would see in these people's eyes would be unrivaled.
That would be a fun experiment, Dan.
It would be a delightful experiment.
Plant someone in one part of the chapel and then someone in the other part of the chapel. The problem is you would need people that are known to them.
Because everybody knows everybody in the ward.
And so, but if you could somehow pull it off.
You do it at stake conference.
Yeah.
Where people don't know each other.
People don't know each other very well.
Because stake conference, so a stake is like a group of wards. It's all, 5 or 6 different wards feed into the one stake.
So you have the speaker in the Adamic language.
Right.
And then you have
on the other side of the room
who stands up.
I know what Brother Johnson was saying.
It was crystal clear.
It's been revealed to me.
And give him a taste of some good old-timey Mormonism.
Which 90% of the people in the room don't even know existed.
Right, exactly.
We believe, number 8, the Bible to be the Word of God and here's some interesting language, as far as it is translated correctly.
Yeah, he was...
We also believe the Book of Mormon to be the Word of God.
Yes.
Like Glenn Beck said. Every goddamn word of it.
Yeah, so the Mormons will, they have their Joseph Smith translation, but they'll be in general dismissive of parts of the Bible that don't fit with their
general,
belief.
and it's interesting, the Mormon translation that they like the most is a translation of the Bible into German. But the English translation that they like the most is still the King James. So there you go. None of this new English translation or whatever. There's a million translations, but no, they like the old timey talk.
Yes,
in part because the Book of Mormon itself
is old timey talk.
Is written to sound like the King James Bible.
Yes, indeed. Okay, number 9. We believe all that God has revealed, all that he does now reveal, and we believe that he will yet reveal many great and important things pertaining to the kingdom of God.
This is really just saying we get to say new things.
Yes.
The whole thing of that one is we get to say that
reveal things. Yep.
God has said something
It's not
new.
set in stone.
Right.
God's active.
This one's interesting. So now we come to the Battlestar Galactica article of faith.
Oh, gods of Kolob.
We believe in the literal gathering of Israel and in the restoration of the 10 tribes, that Zion, and yes, we're Mormons, so we do not say Zion. Zion, the New Jerusalem, will be built upon the American continent, that Christ will reign personally upon the earth, and that the earth will be renewed and receive its paradisiacal glory. Paradisiacal glory. That is not a word. Pretty sure that's not a word. Paradisiacal. Anyway, let's not get hung up on that. The 10 tribes. I never understood it. I never knew anything about it. But if you watch Battlestar Galactica, both old and new, they will talk about the 10 tribes, and that's because it was written by a Mormon guy. It was created by a Mormon dude.
Oh, well,
right? Don't
they talk about the 12 tribes.
12 tribes. Yeah.
Let's see. 11. We claim the privilege of worshiping Almighty God according to the dictates of our own conscience, and allow all men the same privilege. Let them worship how, where, or what they may.
An interesting one, and one that I should bring up if I ever decide to join the Satanic Temple and ask to pray at the Capitol.
Yeah.
However, while they claim the privilege of worshiping Almighty God according to the dictates of their sincerely held religious beliefs,
yes.
Number 12 says, and this one's really interesting to me, we believe in being subject to kings, presidents, rulers, and magistrates, in obeying, honoring, and sustaining the law.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
It is.
That's because Mormons are passive-aggressive, not aggressive-aggressive. So if you have a law that we don't like, we'll obey it, but we will grumble to ourselves an awful lot. It's not nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So, all right.
And then we come to the one that actually started me thinking about this as a subject for our podcast, because I learned it as a song in primary, which is the children's thing in Mormon church. There are songs for all of these, by the way, so that you memorize them without actually thinking about them. It's very useful to memorize these without actually knowing what they might mean.
Oh, yeah. Well.
But what I was thinking is, these popped into my head, and I was like, 90% of what this last article of faith says is just nice. I totally agree. So here it comes. We believe. Oh, also, by the way, it sounds like the Boy Scout motto or the Boy Scout law or whatever it is. We believe in being honest, true, chaste, benevolent, virtuous, and in doing good to all men. Indeed, we may say that we follow the admonition of Paul. We believe all things. We hope all things. We have endured many things and hope to be able to endure all things. If there is anything virtuous, lovely, or of good report or praiseworthy, we seek after these things. Now, the whole "we believe all things," I don't know what that means.
They don't.
What does that even mean? We believe all things. We hope all things. Do you hope that a giant beaver will swallow the earth? I don't think you do. That's a thing.
Well, that's absurd, Dan.
Of course it is.
So you're this whole honest, true, chaste. Do you believe in being chaste?
No, but neither do they. Do you know how many children Mormons have? They don't believe in that. Chastity is not a thing they believe in. They believe in not having sex before marriage.
Does chastity mean not to have sex?
Well, that's one meaning of the word. But chastity, but to chasten oneself is a totally different meaning of the word.
Well,
do I need to look up the word chaste?
Yeah. Well, if you want to, yes. Do you believe in being virtuous?
I do.
Really? Having virtues?
I do, but not in the way that Mormons believe that word, because Mormons only use the word virtue for one thing. Yes. And that one thing is it means sex.
Right. So
the first meaning at dictionary.com of chaste is refraining from sexual intercourse that is regarded as contrary to morality or religion.
Right. So that's what they're talking about there, Dan.
Yeah, but there's also free from obscenity or decent can mean chaste. Undefiled or stainless can be a meaning of chaste. Pure in style, not excessively ornamented.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an interesting definition, actually. But anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's a lovely statement.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It does. Yeah. It doesn't really say anything because and I'm sure that they feel very proud of this. It's the same thing that everybody believes.
It still feels like there's a massive stick up somebody's butt. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
we believe in being honest, true, chaste, benevolent, virtuous. No, fuck you.
What's funny is I used to get that totally confused because I had to say that and I had to say the Boy Scout motto, which is a scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly,
brave,
courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. It's all the same. List of words. We believe in being a list of words.
Yeah, that whole stand up and recite things is, I don't know how I feel about it.
Well, the point is that, yes, if I can't, why wouldn't you seek after anything virtuous, lovely, or of good report or praiseworthy? Of course you do. Everybody seeks after those things.
Well, but does everybody have a little statement that says that's what they do?
Oh, that's a good point.
You know, Dan, sometimes you have to write things down. Sometimes you have to have a mission statement, Dan. You know,
and if you keep it broad,
keep everybody on the same page.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true. This is the corporate mission statement at Mormon.org. Welcome. All right. Well, if all of that has inspired you truly, you may go and you may find out more by engaging with a missionary of the Mormon Church.
Oh, which their whatever page I landed on when I quickly Googled this. In front of me, Mormon.org.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the page, you have 4 options. You can find a church, visit with missionaries, order a free Book of Mormon, which comes along with a visit with the missionaries.
Yeah, they don't tell you that, but guess who's delivering?
Yeah, or a chat with a Mormon, which, guess what? It's a missionary on the other line.
Yeah.
The whole thing is, boy, they like to... And you heard it in the Glenn Beck thing, when he's like, I am a convert back in 2000. People like, yeah!
Oh, they love their converts.
Oh.
Anyway, good luck to you out there. Have some fun. We'd like to, first,
feedback.
Yeah, if you want to jump in and say something, because, boy, we've said some stuff you may want to respond to, do it. It's podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail message. The number is 424-666-8442.
Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge.
That's what you do. You go to because we had someone write in. He or she was confused about how you get there. You go to Facebook.
Yes.
You go to the little search part. You type TGIA Members Only Lounge.
Yes.
And you click search.
Yes.
And then you ask to be a member.
Yes, and it will take a minute. It's just not instantaneous, folks. There's somebody on the other end who has to look at you.
I look through everything.
Yeah.
And then I do a Google search of you, and I hack your phone and find all your dirty pictures.
Yep. And thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
Thanks, Mackenzie, for doing our Facebook stuff. We really appreciate it.
And thanks to you, dear listener, for listening.
Yeah.
Bye.